if you're going through the big D, and we don't mean Dallas, there you go. You know that country song? Going through the big D and don't mean Dallas.
No, I didn't know that one, Abby.
Anyways,
Thank you.
divorce is what we're talking about today on
yeah.
Money Monday. David Seeger from
Good
Great
morning.
Never fun to talk about.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
I was proud of my country music knowledge right then. And
Well,
that
I
just
think
didn't
so,
come
too.
across.
Very impressive.
Real quick, let's go ahead and talk about today's market.
Well, it looks like the markets are going to open a little bit lower today. There's some anxiety of what's going to happen in Europe. Is that going to be contained just to Cyprus, or is it to go to Spain and Italy as well? So the market's going to open up a little bit lower. See the lines pointing down.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens
It's
in
alarming.
9:30. It is.
What's happening in Cyprus?
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, and what else is alarming is the cost of a divorce these days. Go ahead and give us the facts and figures, Dave.
Well, the cost of divorce on average in the United States is $15,000. Legal fees and transitional fees. So it's a chunk of change we're talking about
Wow.
Yeah, and already, I mean, such an emotional time to
Very
then have
much
to
so.
have all of that piled up on it. So let's just kind of talk some ways to control the financial burden of divorce.
here. And that's the whole thing about it as well. Right now, it's an adversarial type of relationship anyway. I mean, two people trying to fight over what's left over and things
Right.
of that nature. So first thing you want to do, if you could compromise, that is the best bet. Try to compromise, set your priorities, and act like an adult, and try to compromise on what you have in terms of marital assets and custody issues, and cut down on legal costs that way. The average attorney is $200 plus an hour. So it's very expensive. It can rack it up really quick. So the idea is try to be very adult about it and try not to be as
And
adversarial.
that $15,000, that's what you're going to pay an attorney? Is that really what we're talking about?
Attorney
there?
fees and transitional.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, and you hear these stories about when people aren't getting along, like you said, try to just get along and get it done with. I mean, some people's divorces last for years.
They do.
And those fees are going to add up very
Yeah,
fast.
the ticker's running.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's exactly correct.
All right. What other advice as far as controlling?
Well, what you might want to do is get a certified divorce financial planner. You've heard of financial planners. Well, apparently there's some with specialties for divorce.
Actually,
These people help you with the current situation of your divorce in terms of trying to mitigate, the assets. There may be some tax consequences involved with divorce as well. Particularly if you sell an asset, you may have some capital gains. Consequently, we can look at ways to try to minimize that and maybe circumvent some of those type of things, as well as planning for the future as well. Where you can be life after divorce financially. So these folks can probably help you as well.
Right.
Okay, very good advice. Now, getting a divorce can take months, even years, but a pilot program in the state of California is whittling down the process to just hours. Yeah, it's called the one-day divorce. Now, one judge says the program will benefit people who cannot afford lawyers, have already filed for divorce, and whose paperwork is bogged down by the courts. But the concept of a quick divorce isn't the only reason why Judge James Mize says that this is much needed.
We're pulling the folks who are at the bottom, who just don't have any help, any representative assistance.
Now, the program doesn't just help the people who are getting divorced, it also helps the court system at a time when they are facing major budget cuts. Well, that brings us to this week's Money Monday. David Seeger is joining us right now with a look at the cost of divorce. Nice to see
Good
you
morning.
again, David.
Yeah, it ain't cheap.
No, it's not at all.
Not at all. Real quick, let's just talk about the markets real quick.
Markets looks like they're going to open a little bit lower than they were last Thursday when the markets finally closed. They were closed on Friday. And anxiety about Europe is creating some of this numbers right now.
All right. So we talked about last hour just some ways to control divorce costs. But we kind of want to touch upon some websites that can actually help people get through this very difficult process.
First thing though, average divorce costs $15 grand.
$15,000. Legal fees and transitional fees included in that cost.
And the average divorce lawyer costs
$200 plus an hour.
All right, so the costs add up and they add up fast.
Very quickly.
Now, first of all, and I hate to say that this is a funny website, but it's kind of a creative website. It's called divorceprobability.com. So this is a website that married couples can go to, and it figures out whether or not your marriage will last.
That's correct. Your probability of getting a divorce sometime in the
What
future.
do they base it on?
A lot of personal type of things, personal beliefs and attitudes and things of that nature, and some of the relationship that you are experiencing right now.
And I would imagine finances come in.
A little bit, yes, but mostly a lot had to do with the personal type of things, your personal belief systems.
Very interesting. Okay, we also want to mention that there is divorce insurance available.
There is. There's a company that offers divorce insurance for $15.99 per month. And so you can go on there, apply for it, and then of course get it. There's some limitations. You can't apply for it today and get a divorce 3 months from now. You have to have it in place for a little while before you can actually make a claim.
All right, so the other websites that we want to mention, in case, again, you are going through divorce and you need some advice, divorceandfinance.org/divorce. There's various calculators on there as to how to divide your properties up, things like
alimony
that.
buyout calculator, things of that nature.
Very important stuff. And also, if you are going through divorce, there is a community where you can share advice with other people going through it, and that is called BeenDumped.com.
That is correct.
So a lot of good
So you
things.
can blog on that then.
And we will put this
Gotcha.
on our website as well. And again, you know, it's a difficult time for anybody that would go through divorce, but important stuff to know.
Very much
Really
so.
important guidelines. All right, David Seeger from Great Lakes Credit Union. How can people get a hold of you as well?
GLCU.com.
All right,
Great,
sounds
David.
good.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.